Welcome everybody who's made it here to the 9 Essentials to Growing Your Business on LinkedIn. This is a free masterclass. And what I want to kind of explain in this is what we do every day with our customers. Some things I see people missing on LinkedIn, why they're really struggling or they're being incredibly ineffective and efficient on LinkedIn. There's some just core things you need to get and some things you're going to have to understand if you're going to use LinkedIn as your kind of main source to generate new business and grow. And this is not just based on theory. Do this every day. I've been doing this for about 3 years with great success. So the 9 essentials of this is going to be started with some of the common challenges I see. So some of the problems and what I see across a lot of people and companies when they come to us, it really starts in some areas that they're starting first and foremost. They're just too general. They're not specific or niched enough. And they're targeting too many people. They're throwing too much on the wall, hoping it sticks. So that's one of the biggest pieces. And then the other problems I'm also seeing are people chasing vanity metrics. People focus so much on the metrics they want, like how many views, impressions, and likes and followers. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about this as we move through the system that we're going to explain here. But it doesn't matter as much as you think. It's important. But putting too much emphasis on vanity and the metrics can actually lead you down a bad path and also one that's not going to produce business revenue for you. Another big common challenge I see are people are so egocentric. They're also so salesy. They're all about you, about yourself, about what you can do. And we'll address kind of how to get around that. In new days here, if you Google AI nerd, you'll see a few hundred videos about me. So I do know the next statement pretty well, but people have become AI dependent. They've replaced their arms, legs, and brains with AI, and they need to really kind of come back to being human a bit and leverage AI as an accelerator, not as a crutch. Also, they're inconsistent and somewhat sporadic at times too. So they're all in on maybe contacting or doing content, or they're focusing too much on what their profile looks like, or they're just not posting all the time, or they're not engaging. So the inconsistencies are another big problem. Also, no differentiation. If you sound and look like everything else, you're not going to have the success at all. You have to be different. This is so important. Fine tuning your offer so it doesn't have issues with its kind of the theory behind it, the pricing. That's another piece. And also, people have this very transactional mindset. And what I'll talk about that is people are going in thinking, I need to find leads for my business. I need to grow my business. And they're not thinking about it in an idea of a much more partnering type of model, much longer term. So I'm going to talk about that. So I'll ask in the chat if anybody else has any common challenges they see or would like to maybe address. But these are the main ones I see with this. First and foremost, I think you got to understand your customer's journey with you. So as we talk about some of these 9 essentials that we're going to get to here, your customer's journey and the perspective of what you're going to do here really matters. Most people will start up here. They'll try to get down to like too many customers. And what happens is somebody comes along the way, starts checking out your profile a bit, and they start interacting with you. And what happens is with the customer journey that you're trying to invoke with somebody to understand these essentials is you really want somebody to check out your profile, interact with you, and kind of get into this idea of a flow of a system. So I'm pre-showing you something, but understanding your customer's journey is the point of this. Excuse a little of the marketing on here. I'm not going to try to sell anything. It's just we use this when we meet with people. But the truth of the matter is you have to understand your customer's journey with you. And I'll come back to this again later after we've gone through these kind of 9 steps a bit. But you having a perspective of how they interact with you is very key and very core to understanding how you should be going out to LinkedIn and leveraging it to benefit you. The answer to this question, by the way, we do this every day. So let's take a look at this just a bit. Take this. This is on my profile. It is our system that we encourage others to go leverage. I give away this image. It's our kind of signature solution. I want you to take this and know that it can get you halfway there. If you can take this and say, hey, listen, this is a good foundation. This gets the 50% done, and you'll have to figure out the other 50% yourself. But this will get you there. If you follow what I'm about to show you here, you will improve how you interact with LinkedIn, how your prospects and how your networking will all get better, and you will start seeing results immediately. So just know that this is free. Take it. If you obviously, if you want more help, you can contact me. But let me take through these 9 steps. I want you to understand first and foremost, you understand your customer's journey, but you have your goals and objectives as well. And you're trying to go from A to B. Now, I say these words instantly relevant. I named the company this for one main reason, because I'm not thinking about getting leads. I'm not thinking about getting vanity metrics. I'm not thinking about my solution. I'm thinking about how I get a customer to refer more customers to me. I'm thinking at the end. To be instantly relevant in this idea is you want customers referring customers to you. And so these 9 things we're going to do, these 9 little blocks, that's what gets customers to want to refer business to you. It's understanding first and foremost what your end goal is, which is to serve them so well that they are so happy they refer. There's 9 steps, but they're broken down to 3 phases. This core, connect, and convert kind of idea. The core phase is the foundation. This is where you're building an intentional foundation that's based in altruism. It's based in relevance, and it's really centered around the idea that you understand the profile of one, the persona of one. You understand your person you're trying to interact with, and you understand why. Now, I started back at that challenges of what was going on with most people. They're too general. They're not out there enough going very specific, niche down persona of one. They're not chasing people at a very specific rate, and they're not trying to interact with people very specifically because they're afraid of missing opportunities or they don't know their own products. So we're going to start in that first step. That profile of one effectively means you understand in a small list number who it is you're trying to target and why. So let me break it down from math just a bit there. So if you have Sales Navigator, this will be very easy to understand, but you want to build a saved search. You want to build something that is very specific to the amount of time you have available to be on LinkedIn. So let's say you can do an hour a day, 20 days a week. That's about 20 hours. I want you to think that I need about, times that by 10. You need about 200 really good targets that you can focus on over a month. That's a very small number, but you can figure like 10 an hour is what you're going to get to. And I'll explain this later. But I want you to get a persona of one, specific enough, down to about 200 people. Just start with this in your mind. If you don't have a list that narrow, you're too broad. So this is the first core essential. You need to understand your core, the persona of one, the profiles of one to that specific level. Think about 200 people. Just so if you think, back it up, you got about an hour a day to be in LinkedIn. I need to find about 200 really good prospects to do a saved search on. So to keep that thought in mind. The second piece of that is this relevant content notion. So and when you're building out your core foundation, you first understand who it is you're going to want to connect with, and you do it very specifically. The second is, what content do I need to create to be relevant to those 200? Not to 400, not to 1,000, not to everybody on LinkedIn. What content do I need to create that's going to be relevant to specifically? Now, what that tells you is I'm not chasing vanity metrics in that. I'm trying to chase relevance to a very specific audience with a smaller set of content that's very practical and very of value to that 200 people. So if you think about how you do relevant content, that's text, that's image posts, that's video, that could be a podcast, that could be even a YouTube channel. It could be all types of kind of content. It's its own little universe content. But the content you create is got to be very specific. And so to keep that in mind, that relevance ties to the very small persona of one, or that profile of one. Finally, the next part of that core phase is this altruistic profile. You hear people saying, I need to optimize my profile. I'll come back with the question, to what? What are you optimizing to? To get a job? To be available in search? Take the idea that you want your next essential item to be altruistic. You want to be based in altruism. That's in service of others, not even specifically in others. It means in service of that profile of one, those 200. So you have an hour a day. You know you can hit about 10 people a day you're going to try to really interact with and get some interest in. You're going to have some content that's going to be specific, and you're going to set up your profile to not have your names and your titles and all these other things. It's going to be about what you do for people. It's going to be about what it is that draws them to you. Why is it they should connect with you, and why they should take your calls to action. And at the end of this, I'll show you my profile a little bit. I'll go over about how this kind of works, but that's the core. If you can become altruistic, create content that's very relevant to a very small group, your foundation on LinkedIn will be very much so based in relevance, and it's going to establish credibility quicker. The next phase of this is connect. Connect is actually your lead generation portion of this system. And the idea that the next 3 essentials really are around not so much about you DMing people in automation and spamming them. It's about you giving attention to others. It's about you being altruistic in service of that profile of one. So remember that 200 list? Well, every day you're going to go out and find their posts, and you're going to go ask thoughtful questions. You're going to give really thoughtful comments, and you're going to try to drive focused dialogues. You're going to try to have conversations that are about their content and their interest, and you're going to do it in a way that's actually authentic, in a way that you actually care, which means you might need to do a little research on what they're talking about. You might want to take a moment to dive in and understand really what they're kind of communicating, or what problems they're trying to solve, or how they really feel about a subject. If you could be authentic in your engagement to drive a very focused dialogue around their content, the chances of them coming to check out your profile, the chances of them showing interest in you go exponentially. And the call to action that you'll have from that will be much more often taken. And so what we'll do every day is I go out and I go comment on people's posts, and I do it in a very authentic way, and with real true meaning to drive a focused dialogue. And I usually ask them to connect after we've had an exchange. Sometimes I will send them a direct message that says, hey, let's go find 15 minutes. That's my call to action. Yours might be different. But the truth of the matter is it's still based in authentic interactions that are very specific around a very small audience. This produces lots of interest and lots of leads when I do this. And any of our customers that we've trained or helped with, they do the same. So take that as your connection part. Notice I didn't say doing any automation. Don't recommend it. You can use AI to kind of help you do some of maybe your thoughts and organize your responses and replies to be a little more organized or more thoughtful, but don't turn over the reins to technology here. Let it accelerate you, not replace you in this section. And I cannot stress enough, do not use automation and sequencing. I don't agree with it at all, and it is only a way to wreck your brand long term. I see on the other side of people doing lead generation that have been using DMs and sequences and these different flow charts for it. What they're doing now is digging themselves out of a hole because their addressable market, they've spammed, and now they don't know what to do. If you're in that spot, stop it and start doing something that's a little more altruistic in service. Now I'm going to take the next step here is when you get to convert, you need to have all this stuff in place before you start doing your core foundation and you start doing the connection. You need to have this convert phase done first. And the reason is because you need to have a signature solution. You need to have differentiation in what you're going to be offering. This is our signature solution. It helps me define to the customer what it is I do for them and how we do it. You need to develop your own as well. And so having a signature solution that helps differentiate, helps people go from A to B in a 3-phased approach or something like that, is going to be very important for you to be able to explain what it is you do pretty quickly. It also helps you command who it's going to help and helps drive them into that original first step of the profile of one. Because if you know how you're going to help them, you know who you're going to help, you know why. You also have to have really good offer theory. And offer theory is around what it is your value is and how do you price that, or what's the investment the person or the company is going to have to put into to get there. It's also about what the added bonuses are and the features and the guarantees. It's what you do for them that goes in above and beyond. And in that offer theory piece, those are the kind of basics. To get someone to start referring customers to you, you have to already know in your offer that you're going to over deliver. You're going to have some things that are going to be super high value that you're going to throw in. And you're going to do them not because you're trying to be disingenuous, because you truly want to do that for them. And you want to do this for your customers in a way that they see value above the value you've already established. Establishing solid offer theory is where you're going to be able to say to a customer that you've delivered for, they're happy for, hey, would you be willing to do a testimonial? Would you be willing to do a referral? Because that last step, that referral machine, is where a lot of individuals and companies fall apart. They don't take the time to ask. They don't take the time to capture the referrals, the testimonials, and they don't put enough investment and time into actually making it really good, producing it. This is a big step, because if you can get referrals from customers and you can do it very well with how you capture the actual referral, the testimony itself, this will make your marketing and your lead generation and your business growth a lot simpler when people are just coming to you because you've been validated via another customer. Having that last step in mind is that last element. So let me just go through this again quickly. The idea is that these 9 elements are what we do every day. It's what I can do every day on my LinkedIn to generate leads, to grow a business, and build a brand that has sustainability. You want to go from core, connect, convert. And once you start building each one of these segments, each one of the 9 things that are listed here, they're not forgotten. You always want to revisit them. I personally revisit mine every month. I look at the list that we're going to go do. I'm looking at the kind of content I'm going to be creating. How does my banner, my header, my image all stack up? These are the things you want to go look at a monthly level. And when you start doing connections, don't do the same type. You want to do some variety. You want to be able to mix this up a bit. You want to be able to interact with people with thoughtful comments and thoughtful questions. Don't ask the same things over and over. Don't reply the same way. Actually take a humanist approach to this. Like, don't use automation, don't these kind of things. Just be really human and authentic with it. Like I said, the last section, do this work. Do the work to figure out your own differentiators. Take the time to understand your offer in the market that's there. And finally, build a referral machine. This will help you become relevant. This will help you become what you need to do on LinkedIn to be be successful. So I'm going to actually show you a little bit how this kind of works. And this is like just an example, and I'll show it to you live. This is my profile. So this is how the altruistic stuff works. And this might be a little hard to read, and I'll dive into it maybe live actually after I show this presentation. But the idea of this is in my banner here, I'm showing credentials for a book I'm writing. I talk about what I do for you. Relevance ignites revenue. In the first 7 words of my headline here for this altruistic profile, it's very clear when I comment why you should be interacting with me, which is, if you're serious about growing this LinkedIn, this is what shows up in those comments and those interactions you do. And this tells a little story after. And what you'll see here is you don't see my title. You don't see a bunch of stuff in salesy method. It's about what I can do for you and why you should connect with me and why you should take any of these calls to action. And after we do this, the save search, this is in Sales Navigator. So we talk about that persona of 1. This is the altruistic profile. Some of the content that's behind the scenes will get shared with them. But this right here is the save search on LinkedIn on Sales Navigator is that persona 1. That's that profile of 1. So there's a list that's been built. And then I found somebody on that list. I went out there, and this actually happened. I actually did a comment on one of her posts, and there was an interaction with this. Did a comment, hey, this seems to be good. Hit this. I did a reply. We ended up having a meeting from a direct message that was sent. Hey, enjoyed this dialogue. Why don't we jump on a call? And then we booked an appointment. Hopped on this appointment. There was the actual meeting with the person, and then they actually ended up signing a proposal. This is actually how it flows most of the times. We have a meeting that comes from a comment, and this person is still a customer of ours today. Now, I want to show you some other results with this, okay? So this is my calendar, and I think this has been since November. There's a little older picture of this, but this is what it looks like every week. It's a bit insane at times, I'll be honest. There's so many leads coming in, except for the red and the yellows, which are some podcasts that I'm a part of. This is what it looks like. And this is what the results I want you to go think about you can go do yourself. The original image I had shown you is, and that's actually the meeting, by the way, I was trying to show here. This is actually the meeting that I had with that person prior to doing it. So this is one of the use cases we did for the industry of a coaching and marketing agency. In a year, did about a little under 58,000 engagements yearly on this account. This is how many we worked up to with them. They did like almost 2,000 sales meetings, about 10% proposals went out, and about 51 customers from that. So about a 25% close rate on proposals. This is the new revenue, about $500,000 they did by doing this piece. And I tell you this because it really does work. It really works to help you become relevant. What I want to tell you is this. If you do those 9 essentials, those 9 steps, do them in your own way. If you need help, you can reach out. I'll be happy to take just send me a direct message and I'll talk to you about it. But I assure you, if you take those 9 steps and you give thought to it and you don't let any one of them drop, you remove the ideas of AI and automation on your account, and you start interacting with people in a human way, you'll need less interactions, but you'll have higher value. And I want to acknowledge that I understand that this is probably better for B2B services and for high ticket offers, probably more so than a consumer or direct to consumer type of product. But if you're in the services industry, if you're a coach or you're a marketer, this is the way to actually get a little bit ahead of your competition. This is the way to get more interactions, more network. If your call to action is a meeting, don't sell anything in that meeting. Just take 15, 20 minutes to go introduce. Ask somebody about them. Ask the person who crossed you questions about them. And don't ever introduce what you do unless you're specifically asked. And even if you are, just be high level with it. Talk about it in a very non-salesy way. And if there's interest, you can ask them, hey, if there's interest in what we're doing, I'd love to set up more time. And then take it to another meeting where you're coming in with the idea of selling or at least educating them on it. Don't sell. Let people buy from you. Okay. This is a big piece of that. Because when you get to these, if you're going to go through all these steps and you're going to just hop in and go sell somebody right away from doing this, it's completely disingenuous. It'll ruin all the effort you have. And you'll just be putting your brand at risk by just not coming across as authentic or something that's going to be of big value. These are the 9 things you need to do to be successful on LinkedIn. The biggest piece I will say that in the transformation that I started doing this about a couple of years ago through Instantly Relevant. It's completely transformed the network that I've had. I've gone from kind of randomly meeting with people and ran to be a very focused set of individuals that we've grown to over 35,000 people on LinkedIn. And that's all been through the system of just being very methodical, very systematic with it, but authentic the whole way. I want you to just reach out if you have more questions. I hope you can take this and have benefit from it. Thank you so much for listening to the 9 Essentials. Enjoy your day. Thank you so much for listening.